Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. GV here. So today I'm currently in Movilla Cemetery here in Newton Ards, the north of Ireland, and there's some really elaborate tombs here and graves. So we'll have a walk around, and the first one we see here is a mausoleum, and if we look inside, we won't see any coffins or anything like that. So those people would be buried underneath the ground area there. So this is sacred to the memory of William Hamilton, who died in 1840, or he was born in 1846, and he actually died in 1846, the same year. So that's what it looks like in there. And I'll just take you around the side to show you what that looks like. So I'm sure these people are part of the mausoleum. So sacred to the memory of Mary Frances Patterson, wife of James Jemison Newton Ards, who departed this life the 21st of August 1860 in her 37th year. Here also light the remains of their children, Samuel, Mary, Rosetta, James, Edmund and Francis, who died in infancy. So maybe that's what we saw inside. That child died the same year. So interesting old cemetery, and here we have the ruin of the old monastery or church that's there. And this headstone seems to have split in two. Hugh Mulligan, who died in 1783. So lots of interesting stuff to see here on this walk today. And a very interesting one I'm going to bring you up and show you here is the final resting place here of the Corrie family. It's a Greek style temple. How stylish is that? So just up the top we have the date 1860. The Corrie family. So under this stone lied the body of John Corrie, late provost of Newtown, who died the 8th of January 1708 in his 70th year. And if I just pan over here, I don't know if you can see that, but it says Family Burying Ground of Robert Corrie of Belfast. It says just on the top. So I might actually just hop up here, guys, and squeeze in, because there is other inscriptions. So in loving memory of Brian George Corrie, OBE, who was born in 1909 and died in 1973. So the temple mausoleum we see here was erected in 1860. Originally from Scotland, the Corries moved to Ulster in the early 17th century and settled on the Ards Peninsula. In the first half of the 19th century, Robert Corrie became extremely wealthy through his involvement in quarrying and timber. The mausoleum was designed by his second son, John, a keen architect. So there we have a load of names all around. Just there we can see Robert Eric Curry, who died in 1965. Over here we have a M. Deirdre McVicker, is it? Daughter of R.E. Curry. She died in 1998. So there was still people being buried in here up to 1998, which is amazing, really. That's just another angle of the burying area there, the temple, Greek style, very, very stylish. So I'm just going to wander around here and read a couple of these old graves, and after that then I will take you over. There's a very interesting grave over there of a man who's a Union soldier in the United States, and Mark Porter has covered the story of his grave. So what I'm going to do is get Mark to speak at the grave, and he can tell you a little bit more than I do about the story of this soldier who fought around the time of Abraham Lincoln. So here's another old, I just found this burial vault here, and it has the stone slab on top there. Very old structure. I just want to see, can I see an inscription on the top? It's kind of hard to see from here what it says on it. But there we have the door of it. Looks like it's in 3 or 4 pieces of iron or something there, with those little holes. An old wrought iron one there. So there's a lot. Graves are very old here as well. We can see some of them are crumbling away, falling apart, like this one here. And this is the family burying ground of Robert Thompson, in memory of Alexander Snodden, who died in 1900. And we have a David Thompson who died in 1905. So we can just see the huge hole that has come in this one, off in there. Just read this one. In memory of his father, John Johnson, late of Newton Ards, who departed this life August 1802, age 40. And here, if you notice, it says also Agnes Johnson, his daughter, but you can see they've cut out the H and the rest of the letters there, and the word daughter. And why they done that, I don't know. If anybody has any idea, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Why was that piece cut out there? And Agnes died on the 10th of August 1818, aged 2 years old. And then we have a William Johnson, his son, who departed this life the 5th of January 1830, and he was 17 years old. And we have Jane, who was 27 years old. So very, very young people there. So that is that mausoleum we were looking at earlier. So maybe we'll go this direction and we'll bring you in around the old church ruin area. A lot of old chest tombs in that area there. This is George Graham Beatty, who died in 1854, and he has a nice urn on top of his headstone with the old church ruin in the background. So what do you think of that old temple over there? Really, really cool to see that. I nearly fell, guys. I nearly fell just coming over that piece there on the right of the rail. That would not end well if I fell there with those spikes on that railing. Very, very close. So I'm going to show you one or two more graves, and then I'm going to get Mark to come over and we'll read the inscription on the grave over there with the Union soldier. For all you people watching from the United States, it's great to find the grave. A lot of history there. That's a beautiful looking cross headstone there. Look at that. Right, guys, so I'm going to go over now and show you this grave, and Mark will fill us in on the little bit of information. And Mark is here waiting at the grave. So hi, Mark.
Hello, how you doing?
So this, Mark, is the grave here of the Union soldier.
This is amazing. You would think you're in America, but you're not. You're actually in a cemetery here in Newtownards in Northern Ireland. And this is the grave of James Francis. James fought in the 69th New York Infantry Regiment, which was part of the Irish Brigade.
Right.
Now, there was other regiments, of course, within that Irish Brigade. There was the 20th Massachusetts, for example. But at the Battle of Fredericksburg in 1862, during the attack, the assault on Marie's Heights, the Irish Brigade actually lost over 500 men.
Wow.
During that battle, so it was a bloodbath. Now there's a wee bit of a myth that goes about concerning that Irishman fought Irishman that day, that the Irish Brigade fought Irishmen from the Confederates. That was actually propagated by another Irish Civil War soldier who was Sinclair Mahon, General Sinclair Mahon, and he actually was born in Lisburn, which is actually not too far from Newtownards. So there was some say that it was just a myth, that's not actually true. But the 69th, of which James was part of, was known as the Fighting 69th. And of course, James himself joined up later in the war. He joined up in 1864. The American Civil War lasted from 1861 to 1865. So when James joined up, he would have known exactly what he was getting himself involved in.
Yeah,
absolutely. The romance of the whole thing had gone. People were dying, and so James would have knew exactly what lay in store for him. But he survived, and he came back, and he lived till he was 80, as you can see from the headstone, and he died in 1921.
So
and this is where he's buried.
is the NY there? It stands for New York. Is
New
it?
York, yeah.
New York
That's
Infantry.
the 69th New York Infantry.
So there you go, guys. A lot of history there. Soldier, Union soldier.
And he's not the only one that's actually there's a monument for. There's a monument. There's two monuments in Antrim town, which is not far from here either.
Yeah.
One's for a Confederate spy. He set that up for his own family. He was sent over by the Confederate Army here to dissuade Irish men who were emigrating to the New World from joining the Union Army. And then there's another gentleman who was killed in 1863. His family's from Lorne, and they're buried in Antrim as well. And both these men are actually mentioned on the gravestones.
Oh, very interesting. And nobody would actually think, when you walk into a beautiful cemetery like this, that you see a grave of a soldier, who fought in America.
Yes, and his James's relatives actually done a ceremony at the grave here.
Did they? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there you go, guys. Great history, and thanks, Mark, for filling us in on that information.
No problem.
And Mark is full of knowledge. So this is his hoodie, the Church History Trail, Mark Porter. So check him out on YouTube.
Thank you, guys.
And subscribe. He's very knowledgeable and does a lot of history stuff as well. So that is great to see that grave. James Francis, the New York Infantry. So as you were telling me earlier, that was the same time then as Abraham Lincoln. And
Abraham Lincoln was president at that time.
Yeah, he was president at the time. And I did cover a story I was telling you myself in Sligo.
Yes.
About
John Wilkes
Colonel Edward Donaghy.
Uh-huh.
His parents are buried in County Sligo in the cemetery, and he was responsible for the capture of John Wilkes Booth, Lincoln's assassination that time. So here we have something, of course, connected with Lincoln as well.
And then you had the famous, of course, Macker.
The which?
The Macker, General Macker from...
General Macker. Yeah.
Macker, as you would say.
Yeah, as the people in the north would say, Macker. So I'm going to have to get used to the northern accent. It's a strong accent in certain places, isn't it?
It isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, guys, that is that. And there's that old church ruin there. And a walk around here. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. And I'll see you all on the next adventure. Who knows where I'll be, what I'm going to find next. So subscribe and don't miss out. Take care. See you soon.